Welcome to One-Up's longest night here at the Kentucky Speedway. 94 laps await the superstar drivers here this evening for race number 9 of the 2025 season. This is going to be a real endurance test for everyone involved. Stay tuned because the order you see at the start of the race will most likely not be the order you see at the end of lap 94 this evening. And alongside me to bring you all the action under the lights at Kentucky is Jacob Crago, back with us once again. This is going to be a real tough one for the drivers, for us, for the fans, for everybody, because this is one of the longest races on the entire calendar. What is it about this race and this track that puts these drivers to the test so much?
Well, Kentucky is deceptively narrow. It may look wide, on TV, may look wide from one on the onboard cameras, but it is deceptively narrow. It's tricky to get around this place as well because it's very bumpy, especially on the front straightaway, where resurfacing a few years ago kind of wasn't made to make it as smooth as possible when they reconfigured this facility. It actually has a little bit of bumps on the front straightaway that can really unsettle a car, especially as you approach turn one, which can make it really tricky for these drivers. So they've really got to look out for that, in addition to the fact that Kentucky, it's kind of a narrow groove. You can run, side by side, plenty fine, but it's really narrow of a groove of where you can make that move, especially going in turn one, which is, if I recall correctly, a little bit flatter than turn 3 and 4. So these drivers have to look out for that. They have to keep in mind that track is narrower than it actually looks, and the bumps on the tri-oval.
Yes, and when you consider that last night's race featured a lot more passing around the second lane than we saw around the very bottom of the racetrack, that is something to keep in mind as well. You're going to want to make your moves on the bottom, but it might be more wise to stick your car up in the second lane to try and carry the momentum around as best as you possibly can. Quick look at the top 20 now going into tonight's race. Miles Mashburn, been a model of consistency this season, has a 13-point edge over Devin Fair going into this race. Mashburn starts 7th tonight. He has a great opportunity to extend that gap over Fair, who starts 23rd. And pretty much Christian Vargas is the only one other driver within a reasonable shot at the points lead today. Everyone else is more than 40 points behind. But those other drivers I mentioned, they're very tightly condensed around each other. Ben McDonald, 43 points back to Chase Christ in 11th, 63 points back. 4th through 11th, separated by only 20 points. So this is a very good opportunity for some of those people in the midfield to make some gains tonight.
Yeah, especially Julio Cesar. He jumped up from 10th to 6th after his win last time out at Denver. So you can make moves up here in the middle of this top 20 here, especially if you can finish well and the people you're racing around don't. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys can work their way up towards the front of the field. Majority of these guys starting up front, like as you said, Devin Fair starting outside the top 20. It's going to be tough work for him to get up there. Ryan Griffin as well. He's actually in 12th, just 5 points behind Chase Christ, but he starts 21st. So he's going to have to figure out a way to work his way up there as well. You got Liam Nolan 17th, 97 out from Mashburn, but he can maybe make his way up to get closer to that top 10, possibly even, with him starting in 22nd. So, you got J.D. Martin, 16th in points. He's starting 19th. You got a bunch of these guys that are more tightly packed further back in the top 20 that can maybe work their way into battle to get into the top 10, that are starting about mid-packs and can work their way both up through the actual physical field and maybe even in the points battle as well. Hell, you got William Brock in 15th, only driver so far in the top 15 not to have any top 10s. He's done well so far this season to remain in that position despite his lack of top 10s.
And when you consider as well that the top 15 is the cutoff for the championship chase, and that cut line is only 1 point between Brock and Martin, that's a lot you're going to have to keep in mind as well over the course of the next 94 laps this evening. As we can now bring you the starting lineup for tonight's 94 laps of action. Dylan Young, you won't see him on that top 20 in the leaderboard in the standings, But there's a good reason for that. He had a very poor outing at Denver with an undisclosed mechanical issue that set him way back, but he's rebounded nicely with his second pole of 2025, his farewell season, remember, and he lines up on pole position, with Mark Davey alongside him in second, and two of Dylan Young's teammates, Jeffrey Finguy and Patrick Smith, in row 2. This is a great opportunity for Finguy Saitomi Motorsports. If they can dispatch that 11 car quickly, they could easily put a stranglehold on this race.
Certainly. I mean, they've had the qualifying pace pretty much all season long. I mean, Patrick Smith won the pole for the Daytona 500. And while Finguy, he's then able to win a couple of races. Those have also been his only top 10s this season so far. So it's been more qualifying pace for Finguy Saitomi Motorsports, but that doesn't necessarily mean they haven't had speed in the race. Just maybe lacking race pace a little bit, certainly not having luck, especially with Dylan Young, as you mentioned, with that mechanical issue last week at Denver. But it's gonna be interesting to see what they can do here. I mean, it is a longer race. They got plenty of opportunity to try and work their way up to the front if they lose that track position. I mean, you got Ben McDonald in 5th, William Brock 6th, Lane Sanders in 8th. Bubba Jones, actually, with a top 10 qualifying start, I think his best start since Daytona, where he was on the outside pole, if I recall correctly. So maybe Bubba Jones can have some good luck today. I mean, he had luck at Talladega, not necessarily the rest of the season. So it'll be interesting to see if he can do that. Other names up here in the top 20, you got, Cody Goforth in 15th. You got Keon Daly in 17th. Zachary DeLello in 18th. Maybe they can try and work their way into the top 10, maybe even the top 5 after 94 laps. It's all to play for. Let's see what goes down on that track.
So with that being said, we've got 42 cars ready to take on 1UP's longest night, and we're ready to bring you that action now. It is the 1UP Superstar Series from Kentucky Speedway, and the green flag getting ready to get this great race underway, so stay tuned, you won't want to miss any of it. Get settled in, folks. It's going to be a long night here at Kentucky with Dylan Young and Mark Davey on the front row heading into the restart zone now. The field slowly starts to accelerate, and for 42 of 1UP's finest, the Superstar Series is underway at Kentucky. Good launch off the line from Dylan Young. He gets a push from his teammate and team owner Jeffrey Finguy, and he will clear for the lead as the field sails off through 1 and 2.
Yeah, and looks like Finguy is also going to clear Davey there coming off turn number 2. That's going to leave the 12 of McDonald side by side with Davey as they head in turn 3. Well, Davey's trying to fire back on that outside lane, not able to do it. And you have Young now clear by good 3 or 4 car lengths over Finguy, who's now finally clear of the 12 and the 11 who are battling side by side. Although Davey gets a better run on the outside, he's able to clear McDonald for a 3rd spot. And it looks like McDonald's going to settle in line 4th, just ahead of Patrick Smith.
Yeah, and you're going to see that all night long as these guys do battle. That middle lane is going to be the way you want to make passes, although Mark Davey's going to try his luck on the bottom. See what he can do down there on Jeffrey Finguy. But that lane that 92 is in, where that 22 is at, you're going to want to make your passes up there, because that's where you can carry the most momentum, it's where you can carry the most speed, and it's where you can gain the most positions, as it looks like the two teammates out front are taking off into the night sky at Kentucky.
And we've seen this multiple times this season where Finguy Satori has a quick start to the race, and there's been multiple races where both Dylan Young and Jeffrey Finguy have run 1-2 at some point in either order multiple times this season. So it's about nominal for them at the moment, as we see actually Miles Mashburn has been able to use that bottom lane so far to great effect. He's actually gotten around Patrick Smith and dispatched him, and now he's fighting alongside Ben McDonald, although I think McDonald's going to get the drive off for turn 2 here. And he does. He now is in line ahead of Mashburn. Looks like Patrick Smith was trying to take advantage and trying to follow McDonald. Couldn't quite get there as they head into turn 3. Young still clear by good 4 car lengths over Finguy as they head out turn 4.
And this is a run Dylan Young really needs after that mechanical fault at Denver set him back. He entered this race 27th in the points. This is not where Dylan Young should be running. We know he's better than that. We know what he's capable of. This is what he is capable of, and he's putting it to good use so far in this race. As we see Ryan Caggiano making his first start in a while in this 31 car, getting a run on Cale Tescar Jr. in the 18 to get his way way up into 9th position as Teskar settles back into 10th, just in front of Bobo Jones in the 58.
Yeah, and that 31 car and that entire team, Crossroads Racing, really needs a good run, especially with the horrendous luck they've had so far in Superstar competition. As we see Finn Guy now to the bottom lane, trying to get around Dylan Young here for the lead, almost making contact off of turn number 2. That's going to allow Mark Davey and McDonald to close in a little bit. Finn Guy not quite clear of Young as they head in turn 3. Young able to drive a little bit on the outside, although Finn Guy's now going to clear the 29 coming off of turn number 4. Finn Guy's going to come to lead lap number 6.
Yeah, and Finn Guy proving that he can run that bottom lane, make passes. That's a very scary thought for the rest of the field as Jeffrey Finn Guy tries to get his 3rd win of 2025, as well as his 3rd top 10. We've mentioned that a couple of times this season, in this broadcast already. So Dylan Young settles back into 2nd place. He knows he's got a good car. He knows he's actually the only driver in this race so far to set a lap under 30 seconds. So we know he's quick. He just needs to find his rhythm, get his groove back, and try and get the lead potentially back from Jeffrey Finn Guy as they send it off into 1. He's got a little help from Mark Davey, from Ben McDonald, and a few others behind him, but Finn Guy with that run off the top might be able to hold him off.
Although here comes Dylan Young to that inside lane now. Maybe Young was letting Finn Guy get by to try and lead that lap, get that bonus point. Although Finn Guy's going to get the drive off here, off of turn number 4 here. That's going to actually stack up the guys a little bit behind as Mashburn takes to the apron. Patrick Smith is going to follow him, and look who's right behind him. I believe that's William Brockman, 93, right behind Patrick Smith.
Sure is, and this would be Brock's first top 10 of the season if he can pull it off. Of course, it's still very early in this race. We're only on lap 9 after all. There are still at least 80 laps to go in this race, and a lot can still happen between now and the checkered flag. But so far, we've got some great multi-lane racing going on, which we definitely like to see, as it looks like the top 10 starting to condense back together once again, separated by about 2 seconds.
Yeah, and it looks like the 31's also lost a couple of spots there, running back in 11th now. Bobo Jones up into 10th. Zayden Davidson up to 12th, up 1 spot from where he started in 13th. As now we see Teskar Jr. looking to the inside of William Brock. And looks like Lane Sanders, and not quite following Teskar, but he isn't necessarily not following him either. Looks like Teskar is still trying to get to around Brock, but Brock was able to get the drive off the outside. Now he's going to sail it off into turn 1. Teskar Jr. couldn't quite make it stick, though. Brock's going to get the drive off in turn 2.
Yeah, you got to check up a lot on the inside. That's why I said the top lane might be the better way to go, because you can check up less up there, carry more momentum, and you can see the rubber being laid down in that top lane. That just proves that's where people want to run to make passes. But look at Dylan Young. He's down on the flat of the track, trying to get around his teammate, up back into the lead. They've both now led 6 laps of this race. But for Finn Guy, he really wants to win a race, but I'm sure he'd also love to see this 29 get one more win before he hangs it up.
Yeah, and Dylan Young certainly wants to get at least one more win this season before he hangs the helmet up as well. Just hasn't had the luck to go his way so far this season. Although the 2nd place finish, not necessarily a bad thing either. Although with the luck that Dylan Young has had, kind of carrying him out of that top 20 in points, 2nd place finish would certainly help him get into the top 20, regardless if he's able to win or not.
And you got to remember as well, a win is worth 5 more points than our 2nd place finish. And you know Dylan Young's going to need every point he can get if he's going to fight his way back into that top 15. As we cross the line now to complete lap number 13, Dylan Young once again right on the back of Jeffrey Finn Guy. These two now pulling away quite a lot from Mark Davey and Ben McDonald. They're about a second clear of the battle for 3rd. These two are running laps around everyone else so far in this race.
Yeah, and Dylan Young really pushing Jeffrey Finn Guy there for the most part as well. It's probably what's helping these guys get so far ahead of Mark Davey, who seems to be maybe holding up Ben McDonald just a little bit here. It's Patrick Smith we see again running that apron. It's a viable line to run that apron. We've seen drivers already run it multiple times since the drop of the green flag. but it looks like Miles Mashburn is going to get the run on the outside here. Patrick Smith really had to check up running that inside lane. So move 72 back up to 5th place.
Yeah, and for Mashburn, this is a run that'll just help him extend that points get lead even more, because he entered it with a 13-point margin. He'll extend it if they finish the way they're running, as Teskar now tries to make another run at William Brock for 7th position. I feel like this 18 is a lot faster than where he's at right now. If he can get some track position, that car could really shine under the lights here.
Yeah, certainly. Been hounding William Brock, though, for the last few laps. Kind of backed off from the 93, trying to maybe get some slightly cleaner air on the nose, although being mired back in the back half of the top 10, clean air is more of a subjective thing rather than objective, as we see the 29 once again hounding the 92, looking to the inside. Couldn't quite get the pass done, though. Finguy continues to extend his lead just ever so slightly, although Dylan Young really running a very low line there on the back straightaway. That's certainly interesting that he was doing that.
Yeah, but he just closed nearly the entire gap back up again on the 92. Those two very evenly matched, although these three, with those two battling each other so hard, are running him down. Patrick Smith's kind of fallen off the battle for 3rd place. He's kind of dropped back into his own race in 6th position, about 2 seconds off the lead. But for Davey, McDonald, and Mashburn, 3 Chevrolets for 3 different organizations, starting to chase down the 2 FPM Fords out front.
As we see Mashburn now looking to the inside of McDonald, although McDonald's going to get that drive off the corner. And yeah, I think you're right. I think that outside lane is certainly filling in better and being more rubberized, more used. And it's definitely going to be the lane you want to be in if you want to make a pass, especially on fresh tires. As Finguy actually pulling away more and more from Dylan Young, who's now under fire from Mark Davey. As they're running a defensive line once again going in turn 3 here. Mark Davey even running a little bit lower. Not able to make anything of it that time by, though.
Yeah, and going back to your talk about tires, we are going to see plenty of pit stops in this race, at least 2, probably 3 in this race due to how long it is. So that is going to be a very big opportunity for these guys to make gains on each other by undercutting, because the undercut is probably going to be the way to go here when you consider that the fall off here is anywhere from 2 to 3 seconds between the start of a run and the end of a run. They started in the low 30-second range, maybe in the high 29s, but they're going to finish this run in the high 32s, maybe even in the low 33s. So an undercut here is worth a lot. We'll see if it pays off when we get there.
Yeah, but on the flip side, the earlier pit, the earlier your tires do fall off as well, unless you are really able to be a tire whisperer and nurse them. As we see now, Finguy run down by Young and Davey. Davey looking to the inside of Young now for 2nd place. This is the first time the Finguy Satori cars have really come under fire for the front 2 positions so far all race long. This is as close as they've been. The rest of the field, that is. Davey not able to make a move there. Dylan Young able to hold on to 2nd for now.
And we do have the entire top 5 now within a second of the lead. Heck, the entire top 6, as Patrick Smith has run these guys back down again. So, yeah, Davey pulls out on Young to try and make a move for 2nd. That might actually help the 29 by moving him into that second lane. Let's look at this. We got 3 wide back here. Lane Sanders fought his way through. William Brock has now free-fallen down the order from 7th down to about 10th place now, as Teskar finally breaks through up into 7th place.
Yeah, tough break for William Brock. But good for Teskar, who was hounding that 93 for several laps, was able to get around. Now Davey looks to the inside of Young once again. I don't think that move is going to stick if he keeps trying it like that. Although that's close, he's been able to get to the 29 off the corner, but it's going to really hurt him down this front tri-oval, as Mashburn actually looks to the outside of McDonald. He's trying to work his way up to 4th now. And might even get 3rd here if Davies continues to be stuck on that bottom line.
And this is what I was saying earlier. You want to make the passes on the bottom, because that's where the path of least resistance. You want to try and make your passes where it's easier to drive. As McDonald now sends it under Davey and Mashburn for 3rd place. But the easiest way is not always the fastest way. And although McDonald is seemingly able to get to nose out Mashburn at the line there for 4th place, so maybe he's proving all of us wrong here tonight. We'll see.
Now, could have been Mashburn also got kind of sent up to that 3rd outer lane, which hasn't really been used all race long. It's dirty. It's covered with marbles as the race progresses. So Mashburn might not have had the speed in that 3rd lane there as you would have had in the middle lane, like where Davey was. Although Mashburn able to utilize the fact that he was continuing to run on the outside to kind of stay ahead of McDonald, although McDonald, with the push from Patrick Smith, able to get alongside the 72 down the tri-oval. But it looks like Mashburn's going to not clear the 12 coming off turn 2. That's actually a little bit surprising.
Yeah, McDonald had a really good run down the back straightaway, or Mashburn had a poor exit out of 2, either way. Now Mashburn sends it off into turn 3 with a huge advantage over Ben McDonald. He will be able to clear once again for 4th place as the field comes out of turn 4. Now, Jeffrey Finguy continues to lead his gap at the front of the pack, now 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, Mashburn was able to clear McDonald by a good 3 car lengths, give or take, which is pretty much how everybody's been able to clear everybody for the most part so far off of turn 4 is several car lengths. And speaking of several car lengths, that's about what the lead is. It's good, like 6-7 car lengths between the 2 Finguy Satori cars right now. So you see now Patrick Smith looking to the inside of McDonald for that 5th spot. Yeah. As briefly as we take a look at now the 18 of Teskar, who is trying to work his way up to try and catch the tail end of the top 6 here.
Yeah, he's trying, but he's 4 seconds off the lead. I think he was a little less than that on the last lap, so he might be losing a little time. But that might just be because the tires are fading a little bit. As I think I see the caution lights on in the middle of 3 and 4. As the field comes out of 4, we'll take a look. Sure enough,
Yes, the caution lights are on.
Yep, so we've got a caution on the speedway now. It's our first of the evening, and we're going to try and find out what it is. It looks like it's Sam Denoto in the 77 that put us under this yellow flag for the first time this evening. Well, that takes away any worry about green flag pit stops, at least for the moment. Now everybody's going to come in and get some fresh tires and a full tank of fuel.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happened. Yeah, you see damage on the back end of that 77 car. Tough break for that guy. Or tough break for those guys, rather. But, yeah, and that also eliminates the advantage that Finguy was starting to build. And there you see the smoke.
Yeah, that's where it happened,
into
turn 1.
Where it was in turn 1, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
But now everybody's coming to pit road to get a full tank of fuel, 4 fresh tires. We'll see how this shakes up the running order at all, because remember, the pit stalls here are staggered. So it's going to be interesting to see if some guys get held up on the way out with some other guys coming in.
It'll be interesting to see if anybody chooses to stay out under this caution as well, which isn't going to be very beneficial. We learned that at Richmond, and I don't think anybody stayed out.
No, no one. We were at the end of a fuel run anyway, so these guys definitely going to take advantage here of the 4 fresh tires and a full tank of gas. But like I said, yeah, look, the stalls are staggered here, and you can see the back end of the field now coming into their pits, which can be at the front end of pit road as well. You can see these guys starting to approach. So I'm curious.
Teskar already out.
Yeah, Tescar's already out. Let's see if Finguy, he's going to win the race off pit road, but Young and Davey might be held up a little bit. That allows Teskar and Davidson to get out ahead of them. So Young exits in 4th. Teskar now up to 2nd place behind Finguy.
Fantastic stop for both of the Revolution Racing cars.
Yeah, you see Patrick Smith's lost a handful of spots on the pit stop. Ben McDonald as well. So, like we said it, the running order was probably going to shuffle on this pit sequence, and sure enough, it has. Moved Cale Teskar Jr. now up to the runner-up spot, as we're going to get you a look now at what happened to Sam Denoto, put us under this yellow flag. So Sam was running pretty much tail end of the field anyway. He's running pretty much by himself, but I think he might get a little bit of help. Oh, yeah, he got help into the first turn by Stephen Gale, sending the 77 up the track and into the fence. Tough break for a team and driver that weren't really having the best of races to begin with.
Yeah, looks like Gale just misjudged when the 77 was slowing up for turn 1 there. Completely missed the braking point for the corner and just ran into the back of Denoto.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Stephen Gale will not be on the holiday card list for Sam Donato this year, but who knows? Maybe they'll work together to Super Speedway and all will be forgiven again. But this is our first caution of the race, and Donato's still on pit road assessing damage repairs. He should be able to get back out eventually, but he will probably lose a lap in the process.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, Donato and Gale were both making up spots. I mean, Gale started basically shotgun to the rest of the field, Donato 38th. They're running maybe a little bit further than that. I'd say probably closer to make 32nd, 33rd by the looks of things there. So yeah, tough break for Donato as he's still getting repairs done to his car. Stephen Gale definitely going to probably be frustrated with that one because that was obviously very much unintentional on Gale's part. Just misjudgment of the breaking point, and it cost another driver a shot at what could have been a good run had they both continued moving up the field.
Yep, but for right now, we're hopefully going to get a restart here in about another lap's time. We'll see what the lights on the pace car have to say about that. As we cross the line this time, yep, the lights go out there. We will be going green next time we cross the start-finish line, as San Gennaro does go a lap down in the pit lane, assessing damage repair. Depending on if and when he gets back out on the racetrack, he's going to have a lot of work to do to catch the tail end of the field again before this restart.
Yeah, and but the benefit is he's going to be lining up on that inside line.
If he gets there,
so
of course.
If he gets all the way up next to Finguy, he has a chance to get back on the lead lap. But then again, as we saw through that first run, the inside line at first isn't the line you want to be on. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out for Donato.
And we've got some new contenders as well up in the top 10. I hate to interrupt, but we've got Ryan Griffin now up into 6th position. We talked about him at the top of the show. Cody Goforth now up into 10th place. That's a run he needs to kickstart the season, as Donato does exit the pits, but he's got to hustle to catch the tail end of the field because they're in the middle of 3 and 4 right now.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be able to really catch the field all that much. Maybe get around maybe half of them at best. But yeah, also Christian Vargas up from 16th to 8th position, so he's already halfway up to the lead. And yeah, Donato's not going to catch these guys before the green flag comes out because they are pretty much right at the restart zone. But yeah, it's Finguy, Teskar, Davidson, Young, Davey, the top 5. Green flag back in the air to come across the stripe to complete lap 32. And restart for lap 33.
Yeah, Teskar wasting no time. The inside. Yeah, Tescar's not wasting any time at all trying to make his way through on Jeffrey Finguy for the race lead. Side by side down the back straightaway, they're giving a huge pull to Zayden Davidson as well in this 4 car, who's going to jump to the high lane, try and see what he can do, as Dylan Young now sticks it under the 4. So now we're side by side several rows deep out of corner number 4, but it will be Jeffrey Finguy who leads the field on this restart.
And you got to wonder just how hungry Teskar is in terms of a win. Finguy already has 2. Teskar has none so far this season. Not from a lack of trying. He's led many, many laps so far this season. Just not been able to close it out at all at any point this season. So Ryan Griffin, I think he sent it a little bit on Young, maybe a little bit of contact. Saw Young's car get a little loose there on corner entry in turn 3. That allowed him to get 3 wide with the 2 teammates and Mashburn. They're stuck on the outside, who's actually, I think, made a couple of spots running that outside lane.
Yeah, the action on the restarts is always pretty intense, especially at a place like Kentucky where you know you need to make passes quickly if you're going to make them at all. As Finguy now starts to extend his lead out front ahead of Teskar and ahead of Davidson, these 2 teammates have got to start working together if they're going to try and knock down this 92, who has been out front now ever since lap 6, and Finguy, look, he's set a really fast lap of this race, fastest so far, 29.79.
Yeah, because he wants to keep the lead as best as he can, because he sees 2 very fast cars in his mirror.
Oh, but here we go. Here they come. The 2 teammates going to try and stick
3 wide.
3 wide on Finguy. They're going to push him up into the 3rd lane, cause him to get out of the gas. That's exactly what the Revolution teammates were hoping for, and that's going to send Cale Teskar Jr. to the lead here at Kentucky.
Play. uh, if I'm Zayden Davidson, I would feign some ignorance of attempting to be a little bit greedy and get the lead for myself, because that allowed Teskar to get the lead himself. Although Finn guy able to recover, only falls back to second in all of that. Davey now right on the back foot for four. I think he moved him up a little bit as now the 11 and 4 battle side by side. Dylan Young now trying to get in the mix of the battle for third. Here comes Finn guy, though. He's taking a look to Teskar, trying to retake the lead going through 1 and 2.
Yeah, but now we get to see what Finn Guy's car will do in traffic, because we haven't really seen that since about lap 5. So it's going to be interesting to see how Finn Guy's car handles when it's behind another car in that dirty air. So Finn Guy, he's going to try and regain the lead, because that's what a race car driver is supposed to do. But at the same time, he's got to keep an eye out, because Davidson wants to get up there. Mark Davey, I'm sure, would love to get up there and get his season back on the right track. And Dylan Young, we know how hungry he is.
Yeah, as Davey and Davidson continue to battle side by side, Davidson was able to, stay ahead of the 11 for the most part. But with help from Young, Davey's been able to kind of get side by side here. So you can now see Ryan Griffin get to the inside of Dylan Young there through 3 and 4, just out of the camera shot, as we were focused on the battle for the lead there. And now, as we got to this battle here, Griffin now battling side by side with Young there for the 5th spot. That's not what Dylan Young needs, especially with Christian Vargas right there. You've got 3 Finn Satori cars battling 3 Revolution Racing cars and Mark Davey, basically for the entirety of the top 7 here.
And let's not forget, Devin Fair has just cracked the top 10 for the first time tonight. So all 4 Revolution Racing cars now in the top 10, with Teskar leading, Davidson 4th, Vargas 7th, Devin Fair now 10th. This is a really good outing for the Toyota team, led by Christian Vargas. So this, as we look at him now, he's settled into 7th position. He started this race, like you said earlier, down in 16th. He's already gained 9 spots on the day. And look at this. Here comes Patrick Smith to join his teammates at Fingai Saitomi Motorsports up into the top 10 as well. We could very well see, and sure enough, I think we are going to see it, where 8 of the top 10 spots in this race are fielded by either Revolution Racing or Fingai Saitomi Motorsports.
Well, that's been the story all season, hasn't it? Where it's been those 2 teams having the most drivers in the top 10 regularly. I mean, you look at the points graphic that we saw during pre-race. I mean, you got Fair and Vargas 2nd and 3rd, Smith in 5th, Fingai in 9th, Teskar in 10th. Like, that's already half the top 10 going in to this race in points with either of those 2 teams. So
yeah, and the only outliers I can see in the top 10 right now are Mark Davey for Original Autosport running 3rd, and Miles Mashburn for Robbers Racing currently in 8th place. Those are 2 Chevrolets, but they're doing their best. But the onslaught that Revolution and FPM have brought to the table this season, I have not seen in quite a while. These 2 are going to be putting on a show for the rest of this race, I feel. As Ryan Griffin gets to the outside of Zayden Davidson, that is for 4th place.
Yeah, and he's not quite clear, Davidson, but he is going to make that move pretty handily here, unless Young continues to give Zayden a push here. Griffin looks like I've gotten a better run. Yeah, he's definitely clear going in here in turn 3.
Yeah, this is a really good run out of this 02 car. Remember, he started down in 21st, and you also got to keep in mind, he did not make the Daytona 500 to start this season, and he's already 12th in points despite that. If he can get a really good run out of today and finish in the top 5, he could very well jump up into the top 10 in points despite missing the big Daytona 500.
And what a story of a season that would be, especially with him being a rookie driver this season too.
Yeah, because he is far and away the lead rookie in this championship. We expected him to face some challenge from perhaps Kev Shearer, Logan Williams, and James Ellison, but he has really been far and away outshining all of them this season, and he's putting it to good use. He's running in 4th place. I don't see any of the others in the top 10.
Yeah, and to be fair, though, look at the equipment he's in. He's in a Fingai Satori car. That is very excellent equipment, as we see evidence here with, I think, 3rd, 8th, and 10th now being either Finguy Satori or Revolution Racing, although I think Devin Fair might have fallen outside of the top. No, not Devin Fair.
Patrick Smith.
Patrick Smith has fallen outside the top 10. So, like, he has great equipment under him. It's no wonder why he's been able to, be the lead rookie so far this season. And here he is running fourth, running down Mark Davey for third. He's got a chance to maybe catch his team owner for second place here.
Never say never, and this is honestly the kind of run Ryan Griffin really wants to have at this point in the season, because next week, of course, is the All-Star race, but after that, 3 consecutive road courses, and Ryan Griffin, as we all know, really doesn't like those. So he wants to get these good runs in while he still can before those 3 road races come to probably foil his plans.
Yeah. When it comes to Ryan Griffin, the less said about the rights and the lefts, the better. Although he's kind of lost ground a little bit to Mark Davey, who's kind of closed in on the 92. Looks like Davidson now closing in on the 02. Griffin, Dylan Young now under fire from Mashburn for the 6th position.
And Patrick Smith has fought his way back into the top 10 as well. So that, once again, puts all 4 Revolution cars and all 4 FPM cars in the top 10 once again. Like I said, it's a stranglehold that I don't think we're going to see for a while after this. But as well, it just occurred to me, we've just passed the halfway point of this race. I would expect the possibility of some green flag pit stops within the next 10 laps or so.
Although something I noticed a lap ago when they were coming off turn 2, right behind Cody Goforth in 11th was another Roberts Racing car, the 6 of
Michaels.
Joshua Michaels. Sorry. Roberts Racing has really been kind of like the thorn in both Revolution Racing's and Finguy Satori's sides.
Yeah.
With the season so far. Because you got Michaels, who won at Richmond. Mashburn is currently leading the standings. It's...
Yeah, JD Martin's also in the top 15, I hope you know. And he's the 3rd Roberts car. So they're all up there trying to challenge. I know Michaels is the only one of those 3 who's been to victory lane this season, but you go back to Chicago lane last year when JD Martin won, and you know how hungry Miles Mashburn is to get back to victory lane. He'd probably trade several weeks as the points leader away to get a race win.
Yeah, so we're all talking about, Finguy Satori and Revolution Racing, but Roberts Racing has also been really consistent this season, and they have also really...
Oh, here we go. Battle for the lead on our hands. Finguy and Teskar.
Yeah, but it looks like Tescar's going to hold off Finguy there and actually get the drive off and keep that lead for a good extra 3 or 4 car lengths than it was heading into the corner. But getting back to Roberts Racing, they have been able to step up and be able to say, hey, we're here too. So it'll be interesting to see how well that battle continues. In fact, it looks like Michaels is up to 11th now. He's been able to dispatch Cody Goforth here as he's now in the mix to try and get into the top 10. He's looking to be inside of Patrick Smith for that position, with Devin Fair right ahead of him, looking to get around Mashburn.
And you see that red and white car battling Bobo Jones in the background. That's JD Martin. He's on his way to the front as well. So all 3 of the Roberts teammates starting to make a push towards the front of the field. And sure enough, there is Joshua Michaels making his first appearance in the top 10 this race. He started all the way back in the 29th position tonight.
Yeah, so fantastic day for all 3 of these teams to have all, 11 of their cars in the top 15. That is a stranglehold from these 3 teams.
Doesn't leave a lot of room for anyone else either.
Yeah, but it's still commendable, because it's rare to see in this series as competitive as this for that to happen. Although Davidson a little slow on that apron there a little bit.
Yeah, that's going to cost him a lot of time throughout this entire lap. But what we were saying earlier, it makes it hard for anyone else to get a nose in. How about that 3rd place car, Mark Davey, and for Original Autosport in that 11 car? He has been up there pretty much the entire race up to this point, and he is yet to have a top 10 this season. We flash back to his strategic mishap at Richmond as a key example, but he has otherwise had some rotten luck this season. He has been outside the top 30 in points for much of the year, I'm sure this would be a very good run for that 11 team.
Yeah, especially with it being a new team as well. I mean, you think back to the very first race of the season, although the exhibition race at Japan where he had a decent run, but like that has been his only good luck so far this season. Otherwise,
Yeah.
so to be here, to be on the podium consistently throughout this race, like I don't think he's fallen further back than third, maybe fourth at worst, all race long so far. And to be in that position all race, it's very, very great to see him up there. Very awesome to see his team do well. So props to Mark Davey, his entire team there, to be able to consistently run with the big dogs here today and actually have a good run.
Yeah, absolutely. We're within the final 40 laps now. And I know that sounds like a lot of laps, and trust me, it is. But we've still got some great racing to talk about. We haven't had a shortage of action this entire night, and that is why we love racing here at Kentucky, because you never quite know what's going to happen. You've got the entire top five within about a second and a half of each other. 6th and 7th are only another half second back, and the top 10 are about 4 seconds apart. So everybody still has a battle on their hands, and that's why we love racing here. As look, you see J.D. Martin making it up there. As look, the pit stops have begun. Teskar leads a few onto pit road.
Yeah, and additionally, also look how fast these last like 30 or so laps have flown by as well.
Yeah.
As we've been able to talk about everything that's been going on in this race as well as everything that's happened so far this season. As a Finn guy once again to the lead, although I think Mark Davey might be making a pit stop here. Well, he was looking low.
Yeah, he's going to come in. Finn Guy, Griffin, they're all coming in. Davidson's going to come in as well. They're all going to make their way down pit road with Devin Fair. Oh, but Mashburn, I think he missed the commit line on pit road. And as we've seen already this weekend, that is going to surely be a penalty for Miles Mashburn, who, remember, entered today as the points leader.
Yeah, and that is not what you want to be doing, especially in a series as competitive as this. Of course, we've been talking about how there's 3 teams, having a bit of a stranglehold, but he's one of those 3 teams.
We'll see what happens, because if he does have that penalty after his service is completed, they will hold him for a while. As Cody Goforth stayed on the racetrack to pick up a point for leading a lap. We see him now enter pit road with Daniel Bouchard. They were the last 2 that had yet to pit. And yeah, they are holding Mashburn for a while. So he has gotten the penalty for missing the commitment cone. And this is really going to set him back. Probably. It might even cost him a lap.
Might even cost him 2. We'll have to see how the pit stop cycle shakes out here. As I see Donato now even getting off the pit road before Mashburn is able to leave his stall.
That is a really tough break. Now you see him leave pit road, but really unfortunate for Miles Mashburn. This is the part of the race he likes the least anyway, and now he's got an even bigger reason to not like it. As it looks as though Teskar is going to have quite a big lead on his hands when this cycles it all out. Because look, Mashburn leaves. He's a lap down now. But Teskar, you see him coming out. But Vargas and Young, second and third, they're quite a ways behind.
They're almost not even in the same shot as Teskar. But although Vargas, very great stop for that 54 crew to get him up into second place.
Yeah, it's all to do with that undercut, remember. The undercut is so powerful here, and Vargas was one of the first ones on pit road with Teskar and Young. Not really surprised to see him that far up the field. However, one thing that is concerning me is how long they went on that second stint. They may have to do a splash and dash with a couple laps to go if they're not careful.
Although if we get a caution here within the next 10 or so laps, I would not be surprised if all these guys came down and got not just a splash of fuel, but also 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. If you run 15 laps on your tires, that's about half a fuel run. You're going to want to put fresh tires on anyway. Smoke them if you got them, so to say. As the gap between Teskar and Vargas now 2 seconds. 2.5 back to Dylan Young. 3.5 back to Ryan Griffin.
So yeah, very, interesting to see how the pit stop shook out. Although, look at Abigail Evans-Ross. We have not talked about her all race long, and she's up in the
Henry
sevens.
Thomas as well is in 10th position, as Mark Davey has fallen back on his stop. He's now outside the top 10. See if he can salvage anything out of it yet still, but Finn Guy's now fallen back a little bit. He's battling Zayden Davidson for 5th place. This order's been shaken up a lot here as we take 30 to go.
Yeah, it just goes to show you the power of the undercut, how skilled some of these pickers can be, and how great or rather how important pit stops can be, especially under green flag conditions. As a test car still 2 seconds ahead of his teammate Vargas. So, yeah, although Griffin starting to close in a little bit, he was over 3 seconds back. Now he's only 2.8 back from test car across the line last time by. I also think Zayden Davidson lost some time there. So Griffin definitely on the move here. He's tracking down his teammate Dylan Young for 3rd spot right now.
Yeah, but it might just be for the minor positions on the podium, because Teskar, unless we get a rash of pit stops late, seems to have got this race in control for the moment. He has got quite a handy lead as he comes up to lap Sam Donotto for a 2nd time in this race. Now that Miles Mashburn is a lap down, remember, he is now in the free pass position should another caution come out. So he's another guy who's really hoping to get that yellow flag, get that free pass, get back on the lead lap, and somehow make something happen with this race.
Yeah, and with as far back as he is, that is a very costly mistake, because he might even fall outside of the he might fall back to 4th in points, depending on where McDonald finishes. Because right now, Devin Farron and Christian Vargas definitely ahead of him in points, especially with Christian Vargas running in 2nd and Farron 8th. So depending on where McDonald finishes, Mashburn might fall 4th here in points,
which is a real shame. And you also look at Patrick Smith; he's also in the top 10. He was 5th in points going into today. He could easily surpass the 72 as well. So gonna be tough to overcome. But if Mashburn gets that lucky yellow, gets that free pass, who knows what's possible.
Yeah, we know he has a fast car. He's been able to hang out in the top 10 for much of the day. But yeah, just a costly mistake. I think he might have entered pit road from either too wide on the racetrack or just carried too much speed, and that carried him past the commitment cone. And that's what gave him the penalty.
Yeah, because if you look, he's currently in 41st place, 1 lap down. He's well ahead of Sam Donotto in their fight for the free pass, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But it's just such a tough break for Miles Mashburn, who is, like I said earlier, the model of consistency this season. Not today, though. As we look at the fastest lap point, Zachary DeLello in the 08 has taken it away from Jeffrey Finguy with a 29.775.
To be fair, DeLello has been quick at times this season, and that just shows
won a Gateway,
the speed the 08 has. Yeah, he won a Gateway. And I think they even brought that same car from Gateway for this race at Kentucky as well. It hasn't had the speed they had at Gateway here.
He's still 7th in points, though.
Still 7th in points, and I think he's still running in the top 15, maybe top 20 at worst. So great day for them to be able to even get a chance to have the fastest lap. Although Teskar really struggling to get around to Noto. He caught the 77, but he lost a lot of ground going into turn 1 there. Had to slow up a lot to keep running over Donotto.
And he's got to keep in mind as well, if he's having a hard time passing that 77, he could allow Vargas and Young to close right up to his back bumper if he takes too much time in passing the 77. So you got to keep that in mind as well at this stage in the race as we're closing in on 20 to go.
Yeah, not only that, but it also could be the inverse. If you're having a tough time getting around this guy, but you finally get around, that could reopen the gap if the people you're trying to stay ahead.
Oh, we got caution on the track again for Bobo Jones. Have the racing gods not smitten him enough this season to put us under caution for the 2nd time tonight? It will be Bobo Jones to put us under the 2nd caution of the night. That erases Teskar's advantage out front. Mashburn's going to get the free pass, but have the racing gods not had enough with this 58 car this season?
Oh, no! No!
That looks
Oh,
terminal for Bobo Jones. He may well be our first retirement of this race, but didn't you say just a couple laps ago, if we got a caution within the next 10 to 15, this takes care of the fuel situation. Everybody's going to come in here.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to call it like that, though.
Well, apparently the gods have not had enough of this, but sure enough, everybody's coming down pit road right here, and this could be a really big opportunity for a couple of guys to make some gains on pit road. Remember how the first round of yellow flag pit stops shook up the order? I would not be surprised if the same happened here as well.
Oh, clearly, the racing gods are a very hyperactive Labrador Retriever, and Bobo Jones is their favorite squeaky toy.
Yeah, that is tough. That is tough to see for these guys right here. Looking now at Cale Teskar Jr. on pit road to finish service on this car. Actually, looking further back, I think I saw a car took 2 tires on that.
Yeah, and Cody Goforth's going to get ahead of
I think he's the
Teskar on
one.
pit stop cycle.
I think he's the one that took 2 tires. So we'll see what happens here on these pit stops. I think Dylan Young's going to win the race off pit road, and sure enough, he does, just barely ahead of Cody Goforth, who took 2 tires on this pit stop.
Oh, I don't know. I think Goforth got him. Goforth is ahead.
Well, the timing line might be different from the line you see on the racetrack. We'll see how they score that. It's going to be one of those two in the lead at the restart, but Goforth did take 2 tires on that stop, which is very bizarre for this point in the race. We'll see if that works for him or not, but we're going to get you a replay of what happened to put poor Bobo Jones out of the race once again this season. And what makes this matter worse for Bobo Jones, he was actually having a top 20 day. Nothing eventful, just a solid top 20 day for this 58 team who really needs it, but the engine just had enough after 71 laps.
Yeah, I was about to say he was actually running in the top 15 for at least the first half of the race. That round of green flag pit stops we had about 10-15 laps ago might have got him just outside the top 15. But man, if Bobo Jones, if he didn't have any bad luck, he would have no luck at all.
He'd have negative luck at this point, for sure.
He is in luck debt at this point.
Yeah, and when you consider his only top 30 finish of this season came at Talladega in the form of a 9th place, and that's going to continue here today. He's going to be out of this race with this engine failure. Oh, you just do not want to see that.
And it looks like they did give Dylan Young the spot over Goforth. So you were right about that. Dylan Young did beat him off pit road there, as Teskar will line up in 3rd, Vargas 4th, but Ryan Griffin in 5th. So
this is going to be interesting now, because we have not seen this yet today. We have not seen what 2 tires can do. It was about 10-15 laps since they last pitted. This is going to go one of 2 ways for Cody Goforth. He is either going to gain a lot of positions over where he was and score a much-needed finish, or he is going to quickly fall through the pack and finish very much not where he needs to be. So it's going to go one of 2 ways. We'll see how it shapes up on this restart, which will come just under 20 laps to go, as Donato takes his spot in the inside line. That could be a factor as well in how this all shapes out.
Yeah, it's a questionable call, but not one I can't say I disagree with it, but I can't agree with it either with that 2-tire call.
I mean, he wasn't going to win from 14th, wherever he was before the pit stops, so... And this gives him an opportunity at some track position, some clean air.
And could get him, and it gives him a great shot at cracking that top 30 and not needing to have to worry about go or go home as well. So... I like the gutsiness of it. I just can't agree with it, but I can't disagree with it either.
We're going to find out, aren't we? Because we're coming to the restart now with about 18 laps to go in this race. Dylan Young leads him across the line, and with Sam Donetto alongside, we are racing at Kentucky, and Teskar does not want to waste any time trying to get past that 64, although Vargas and Griffin, they've got other ideas.
Yeah, and that's going to allow Goforth to at least hold on a second for now, although Donetto has a little bit more speed coming off that corner. I think those worn tires are kind of holding up everybody else. Dylan Young practically another zip code now, as Denoto continues to be in second in line, although he is a lap down.
Ryan Griffin
now in second.
Devin Fair up to third as well. These guys are trying their absolute best to get past this 64 car, who I'm really starting to wonder if the 2 tires was the right way to go on this, because at this point in time, he's already fallen to 4th place. I wonder how far back he will fall.
And this is going to allow Dylan Young to continue to pull further and further ahead, as only now Ryan Griffin has gotten clear Denoto for at least second on track, even though, like I said, Denoto is a lap down. So that's definitely there in third. He's now side by side with Denoto.
Yeah, Tescar now up to 4th.
Yeah, like Dylan Young is pretty much having not the largest lead we've seen all race. They are now 3 wide. Tescar looking to the inside of Fair, kicking Denoto out to that third line, but further back, 3 wide again.
Yeah, Michaels,
Davidson, and
Patrick Smith. And Michaels has help from his teammate J.D. Martin. Jeffrey Finguy, though, he led so much of this race. Now he's fallen back to about 15th, the way this is all cycled out. So not what he wanted, but it's music to the ears of Dylan Young, who is enjoying a full second ahead of his teammate, the rookie Ryan Griffin.
Yeah, and realistically, Dylan Young was really only matched by Jeffrey Finguy when they were out in clean air like this.
And maybe Tescar if they ever raced together. But
yeah, but Dylan Young in the best position he has to now win a race. He basically only has Ryan Griffin, and I would assume Devin Fair, maybe Tescar, to worry about at this point, depending on if they're able to close on that 29 car.
And keep in mind as well, we still have all 4 Revolution Racing cars in the top 10 in this race, 3 of which are in the top 5, Fair, Tescar, and Vargas, although Henry Thomas now has other ideas. This is the first time we've really seen him up at the front of the field, but he's now trying to make a move on Vargas for what will be 5th place, and they're still side by side from what I can gather.
Yeah, but Dylan Young still a second ahead of Ryan Griffin. Miles Mashburn actually a little off pace from the tail end of the field.
Yeah, something's not right with that 72. I don't know. Maybe when he went through the grass, maybe he got something caught there or what. But it's not quite he got the free pass. He is on the lead lap, but this is still not going to be the finish Miles Mashburn was hoping for. Look, he's already 9 seconds off the lead, almost 3 seconds back of the next car ahead of him. So very much not what the 72 team needs. He is going to lose the points lead after this. But to him, it doesn't really matter. He lost a chance at a win, and that's what's important to him. But we're coming up on 10 laps to go pretty quickly here, and I think Griffin, Tescar, and Fair are now going to try and team up to chase down that 29.
Although, is Griffin really going to try and team up here and catch that 29, or is he going to try and
well, he did gain.
Play defensive here and play the team game here?
He did gain quite a bit on that last lap, so he's looking for his first career win in the Superstar Series tonight. And you got to remember, flashback to the Nitro National Series a few years ago, he had a really big crash here that put him out of action for a bit. So he would love to get redemption at this place.
Yeah, and you also see the 16 of Henry Thomas. He did get around Vargas for that 5th spot, and now he's running down the 51, 18, and 02. So it'll be interesting to see how he did do that. As we see go 4th now, well outside the top 10. He's being passed by Patrick Smith for, I believe that is
12th.
The 13th
that's 12th position. 12th. He has lost.
12th spot.
Well, no, actually, yes, it is 12th, because DeLello is now running 11th with the fastest lap. Finguy now running just outside the top 15, and we've got a whole host of cars running in a big pack together. And they're all trying to get around the 64, and the longer they run on these tires, I feel like the less this gamble is going to pay off.
Yeah, although not too far behind this is 31 of
Caggiano, and that's a very good run for that 31 team. They really needed it, as they're missing a good chunk of races up to this point.
Yeah, and Crossroads as a whole needs that run, because it shows that, yeah, they do have the speed, they just have not had the luck. Although, as we take a look back at the front, Griffin takes another 2/10 off that lead off of the 29. So he is running down his teammate here. Looks like the 18 and 51 of Fair and Tescar not quite catching as quickly, but they are tucked up right behind each other, looking to maybe try and use the draft to get up to Ryan Griffin here. Although not necessarily draft track, but hey, every little bit helps, right?
Absolutely, it does. And if you can get a pole like Ryan Griffin is getting off the 29, Tescar's definitely got a pole. He's going to try and make a move to the inside of the O2 for second place. Tescar, of course, has led the most laps tonight. No one can take that from him now. He's led about 35 of them tonight. But unless he can find a way past these two teammates out front, it will not be his first win of the season tonight.
Yeah, and clear of Griffin actually through 3 and 4 there. So now all he has between him and victory is that 29 of Dylan Young, but that's going to be a very, very hard-pressed move to make, considering how hungry Dylan Young is for victory himself.
And we only have 6 laps to go. Time is running out for Cale Tescar Jr. He needs to put together some brilliant laps if he's going to have any shot to win this race. This would be his first win since 2022 at this point. But Dylan Young, he's running out of opportunities to win in general, because this, like we said, this is his final season in 1-Up, and this would be a very popular win if Dylan Young can hang on for just 5 more laps.
Yeah, it's been so long for Tescar, you had to think about it there for a moment. But yeah, either way, this would be a momentous win, no matter who wins. Dylan Young, retirement season. Tescar Jr., very long winless streak. Ryan Griffin, first career win in Superstar.
And go back to Devin Fair as well. If he wins, it'd be his 10th, which would put him up all by himself, 3rd on the all-time list. And Henry Thomas looking for his first win in over 6 years.
So yeah, like everybody in the top 5, well, now top 6, as Vargas is able to get around Henry Thomas for 5th position across the line. Everybody's very hungry for a win. Everybody is looking for an opportunity to get in victory lane, and we are coming to just 3 laps to go for Tescar, and he has not been able to run down Dylan Young like he was able to for Ryan Griffin, although Griffin right back on the back bumper of the 18 now. Maybe he's going to try and cause issues for Tescar.
Yeah, I was just about to say, that is the reason Tescar has not been able to catch Ryan Griffin, and that's because Tescar has not been able to catch Dylan Young, and that's because Ryan Griffin has been a thorn in his side for much of this last stint of the race. As we look further back, Cody Goforth not having a very good run of it. He's fallen outside the top 20 now, and this is not the gamble on 2 tires. It worked for a moment, but it's not going to work in the end. As Mashburn hits pit road late, maybe the issues on his car have finally caught up to him.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if the issue on his car is what caused him to.
Oh, McDonald on pit road as well. Nick Ortiz for good measure. Something's amiss with all of those cars. I'm not quite sure what, but we're coming to the white flag. They're all going to fall off the lead lap at this point.
Yeah, and here comes Ryan Griffin now to look to the inside of Tescar. He's going to try to make a similar move Tescar made on him about 5 laps ago.
And he clears.
And he's going to be able to do it.
So that will end Tescar's hopes of victory as the white flag flies over Dylan Young. Ryan Griffin has to make up half a second in 1.5 miles if he's going to steal the win away from his teammate.
At this point, I think the only thing that's going to stop Dylan Young from winning is him having some sort of issue that causes him to suddenly slow. Although saying that, Griffin has closed that deficit in half already in just half a lap.
Coming through 3 and 4 for the final time. Ryan Griffin's going to give it absolutely everything out of this final corner, but it will not be enough unless he gets a huge run, which he is, but it's still not enough. And Dylan Young across the line, career win number 4. This one perhaps means more than the others when you consider it could be his last.
Got the monkey off his back in his retirement season in terms of finding victory this year.
He proves that he's still got it. He's still got what it takes to win races, and boy, that was a very good performance out of that 29 car. Very well deserved. Ryan Griffin, a career best 2nd place in the Superstar Series for him. Cale Tescar Jr., another podium. I'm sure he wishes he could have won it, but that's still a really good day. Devin Fair, Christian Vargas complete the top 5. Ahead of Henry Thomas, Joshua Michaels, Zayden Davidson. They put all 4 Revolution Racing cars in the top 10 this week. J.D. Martin, 9th, and Zachary DeLello completes the top 10. But the same cannot be said, unfortunately, for his teammate, Cody Goforth, who really started to struggle on his tires in the final few miles. He will finish 33rd tonight.
Yeah, that gamble did not pay off at all whatsoever, and that might actually hurt him in terms of the fight to try and get into the top 30 in
I mean,
points.
yeah, he was struggling with that as it was, but this certainly is not going to help in that regard. But what a drive from Dylan Young, it has to be said. His first win of the season, the fourth of his career, and he's still got a couple boxes to check off before he retires. He wants to win at Chicagoland, he wants to win the championship, and he's well on his way now in his bid for glory in his final season. But that is going to do it for us for one long night at Kentucky Speedway as the flashbulbs go off in the background. From Jacob Crago and from myself as well, thanks for joining us for an incredible night of racing. Next time we see you, it'll be for the 1UP All-Star Race, and that is going to be a whole lot of fun out at Lebanon Valley Speedway, the dirt track out in eastern New York. That is going to be a fantastic venue to see 1UP's finest battle for all the bragging rights. We will see you out there for a night of all-star racing. But until we get there, so long from Kentucky. Congratulations to Dylan Young. Finally shook off all his bad luck to score his first win of the season in his farewell tour in 1UP competition.